What if I told you that your relentless work ethic is the very thing keeping you powerless? Right now, as you're grinding through another exhausting day, someone else is making decisions that will shape your entire future. While you're sweating, they're scheming. While you're proving yourself, they're positioning themselves. And here's the brutal truth nobody wants you to discover. The hardest workers are almost never the ones in control. You've been sold a beautiful lie wrapped in virtue. The lie that effort equals power, that suffering equals success. But look around you. Who actually holds the strings? 500 years ago, a disgraced Italian diplomat named Niccolo Machiavelli wrote something that would terrify rulers for centuries. He revealed that power doesn't come from virtue, hard work, or moral superiority. It comes from understanding one simple truth. Control is not earned through labor, it's acquired through leverage. Today, this wisdom is more dangerous than ever because we live in the age of the grind. We worship busy schedules like religion. We celebrate burnout like heroism. We've been conditioned to believe that the person working 80-hour weeks is somehow more noble than the person who works 20 hours but controls the entire outcome. But here's what Machiavelli understood that most people never will. The prince doesn't rule because he works harder than the peasant. He rules because he sees the game everyone else is playing while they're too busy playing it to notice they're being played. This isn't about laziness versus productivity. This is about recognizing that in every empire, in every company, in every social structure, there are the workers and there are the architects. The workers build the palace, the architects own the blueprint. And when the walls crumble, guess who survives? In our hyper-connected world where everyone's performing their productivity online, the person who masters strategic silence holds all the cards. While others are broadcasting their every move, the truly powerful are moving in the shadows, positioning themselves for the kill. The gladiator trap. Let me paint a picture. In ancient Rome, gladiators were celebrated, cheered, admired for their courage and skill. They bled for applause, fought with everything they had, and the crowd went wild. But who truly held power in that arena? Not the man dying for entertainment, it was the emperor in the box, deciding with a simple thumb gesture who lives and who dies. Modern corporate culture has turned you into a gladiator. You're fighting for recognition, bleeding for promotions, performing for LinkedIn likes. Meanwhile, someone else sits in the emperor's box, making decisions about your future without breaking a sweat. They don't need to prove themselves because they own the arena. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. The gladiator appears powerful, muscles, scars, victories, but the emperor is powerful because he controls the context in which power is exercised. Here's the trap. Our culture has convinced you that visibility equals value. That if you're not constantly posting your wins, sharing your journey, documenting your grind, you're somehow falling behind. But every post is intelligence you're giving your competitors. Every announcement is a target you're painting on your back. Think about the most powerful people you know personally. Not celebrities, but actual power holders in your life. Do they post about every deal, every strategy session, every late night? Of course not. They understand that information is ammunition, and they're not about to hand it to their enemies. The illusion of meritocracy. We've been fed this beautiful story that hard work pays off, that if you just keep your head down, do your job, exceed expectations, eventually you'll be rewarded. But here's what they don't tell you. Meritocracy is mythology designed to keep the hardest workers exactly where they are. Machiavelli observed that men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. In other words, perception matters more than reality. The person who appears competent while doing less often advances faster than the person who is competent but invisible. I learned this lesson the hard way in my first corporate job. I was the guy staying until 9 p.m., taking on extra projects, saying yes to everything. I thought I was building my reputation. Instead, I was building my prison. My manager knew I could dump anything on me because I'd proven I was reliable, which in corporate speak means exploitable. Meanwhile, my colleague David worked normal hours, played golf with clients, and somehow always knew exactly what the executives were thinking. While I was optimizing spreadsheets, he was optimizing relationships. Guess who got promoted? The brutal truth is this: systems don't reward the hardest worker. They reward the person who best understands and manipulates the system. David wasn't better at our job, he was better at the job above our job. Strategic withholding and the power of mystery. Machiavelli understood something that social media has made us forget. Mystery is power. The moment you become predictable, you become controllable. When everyone knows your next move, your strengths, your schedule, your goals, you've lost your greatest weapon. In The Prince, Machiavelli argues that a ruler must sometimes be like a fox, cunning and unpredictable. Today's hard workers are the opposite. They're like golden retrievers, loyal, transparent, exhaustingly enthusiastic about everything. Let me give you a modern example. Have you ever noticed how the most successful entrepreneurs rarely post their actual strategies? They'll share motivational quotes and highlight reels, but never the real decisions that move the needle. That's not an accident. While their competitors are copying yesterday's tactics, they're already 3 moves ahead. Strategic withholding means not announcing goals until they're achieved, not explaining your methodology to competitors, not revealing your timeline to people who don't need to know, not justifying decisions that don't require justification. This isn't about being secretive for the sake of being secretive. It's about understanding that every piece of information you release changes the game board. Your transparency becomes other people's strategy.
The economics of attention. Here's something Machiavelli would have understood immediately if he lived today. Attention is the new currency, and most people are spending it like lottery winners spend money. Every notification you respond to, every meeting you accept, every quick question you answer is a withdrawal from your attention account. And unlike money, attention doesn't regenerate, it degrades. The more scattered you become, the less capable you are of deep strategic thinking. The hard worker says yes to everything because he wants to be helpful, valuable, indispensable. But here's the paradox. The more available you are, the less valuable you become. Scarcity creates value, not abundance. Think about it. When was the last time you waited weeks for a meeting with someone who wasn't important? Never. The people who matter are always slightly out of reach. They don't respond immediately. They don't accept every invitation. Their time has weight because they treat it like it matters. Meanwhile, the eager worker responds within minutes, stays late, comes in early, and wonders why he's not respected. He's solved the wrong problem. He's optimized for availability when he should have optimized for impact. The art of strategic positioning. Machiavelli's greatest insight was about positioning. It's not enough to be capable, you must be positioned where capability creates maximum leverage. The right person in the wrong position is powerless. The wrong person in the right position can reshape the world. Most people think vertically about career advancement. They want to climb the ladder, get the next title, increase their salary. But smart positioning often means moving laterally, even diagonally. It means getting closer to decision makers, information flows, and resource allocation. I know a guy who turned down a promotion that would have doubled his salary because it would have moved him away from the CEO's inner circle. 6 months later, the CEO started a new division and made him the head. His lateral thinking resulted in a 300% increase in both salary and actual power. Strategic positioning requires you to think like a chess player, not a checkers player. In checkers, you just move forward and jump over people. In chess, sometimes the most powerful move is the one that looks like nothing happened. Sometimes retreat sets up victory. The hard worker focuses on his square. The strategist focuses on the entire board. So here's what Machiavelli would tell you if he were alive today.
Stop confusing motion with progress. Stop mistaking exhaustion for achievement. The empire you're trying to build with your hands is being designed by someone else's mind. This isn't about becoming lazy or unethical. It's about becoming strategic. It's about recognizing that in a world where everyone is competing on effort, the person who competes on intelligence holds all the advantages. Ask yourself right now, are you the gladiator or the emperor? Are you building someone else's vision or your own? Are you optimizing for applause or for outcome? The choice is yours, but choose consciously. Because the moment you step back from the performance and start playing the actual game, everything changes. You stop being reactive and start being proactive. You stop being visible and start being inevitable. Take this week to audit your life like Machiavelli would do. What are you doing that makes you predictable? What information are you giving away for free? Where are you optimizing for the wrong metrics? What would happen if you said no to everything that doesn't serve your ultimate position? The revolution isn't in working harder, it's in thinking sharper. If this video shattered something in your worldview, if it made you uncomfortable in the right way, I want to hear from you in the comments. Write this exact phrase: I choose leverage over labor. Let's see who's ready to stop performing and start positioning. But don't stop here. This is just the beginning of rewiring your strategic mind. Hit subscribe because the next video reveals Machiavelli's most dangerous principle: how to become so valuable that people compete for your attention instead of you competing for theirs. And if you know someone who's trapped in the grind, someone who's bleeding for applause while others collect the real rewards, share this video with them. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is the uncomfortable truth that sets them free. Remember, the world doesn't need another hard worker. It needs more strategic thinkers. Which one will you choose to become?